What if Sung Jinwoo never got the system? No leveling screen, no daily quests, no shadow army, just one brutal ability: steal the power of every enemy he kills. Would Sung Jinwoo still become the strongest hunter? Would he find a completely different path to the top? And what kind of monster would he turn into by the end? Let's get into it. Everything starts the same. Jinwoo enters the double dungeon as the weakest hunter in the group, an E rank with nothing going for him. The statues begin moving. Hunters start dying. Panic spreads everywhere. But this time, when the dust settles and Jinwoo is the last one standing, there's no system notification, no blue screen, no congratulations, you are now a player. There is just silence, and one new feeling Jinwoo has never felt before. He notices something different in his body, a warmth spreading through his muscles, a sharpness in his senses he's never had. Without understanding what just happened, Jinwoo has passively absorbed something from the statues he survived: raw physical endurance, the kind that let those stone soldiers withstand attacks without flinching. Jinwoo does not know what to call it. He just knows he feels stronger than he did when he walked in. He walks out of the dungeon with no system, no quests, no guidance, just a body that's slightly harder to kill than it was before. So for now, Jinwoo just got basic physical endurance from the temple statues. Now, without the system giving him a key, Jinwoo does not enter an instant dungeon immediately. Instead, he starts hunting on his own deliberately. He targets low-rank gates that other hunters overlook. He clears them alone, not for money, not for fame, but because he's figured out what's happening to him. Every enemy he kills adds something: a goblin's speed, a wolf's instinct to track movement, a cave troll's skin density that makes his body slightly harder to cut. None of these are dramatic upgrades on their own, but Jinwoo is patient. He treats his ability like a collection. He starts choosing his hunts specifically based on what ability he wants next. This is the first major difference in this timeline. The original Jinwoo was reacting to the system and following its quests. This Jinwoo is hunting with intention. He studies monsters before he kills them. He watches how they move, what makes them dangerous, and then he takes it for himself. By the end of this phase, Jinwoo's base physical stats have already risen far beyond any E rank hunter. He's not S rank yet, not even close, but he moves faster, hits harder, and heals quicker than he has any right to at this level. At the end of this arc, Sung Jinwoo gains goblin agility, wolf tracking instinct, cave troll durability, and low-level regeneration from dungeon beetles. Moving forward, Sung Jinwoo joins the C rank raid with Hwang Dong-soo's group, the same way as the original timeline. He needs access to higher-level dungeons he cannot enter alone yet, so he tags along as dead weight. At least that's what the group thinks. When the group locks Jinwoo and Jinho inside the boss room, they expect two bodies when they return. What they get instead is a completely different problem. The giant spider boss is aggressive and moves fast. In the original timeline, Jinwoo really struggled with this fight, but in this timeline, he already has goblin agility in his body, so he's moving at a speed that the spider flat out does not expect. He takes hits but heals through them, using regeneration he picked up from dungeon beetles. He defeats the boss, and the moment it goes down, he feels that familiar pull again. This one feels a little different though. The spider boss had this locked-in predatory focus during its attacks, like it was always 3 steps ahead of whatever it was hunting. Jinwoo absorbs it, and right away, his combat awareness gets sharper. Reading attack patterns starts feeling almost automatic. When the hunters who betrayed him come back, the fight doesn't last long at all. Jinwoo has speed, durability, regeneration, and now the combat focus of a boss-level creature running through him all at once. The guys who locked that door were not ready for what was waiting on the other side. So by the end of this arc, Sung Jinwoo has added the spider boss's combat focus to everything he already had. Now in the original story, this is where the system gives Jinwoo a special quest that leads him to fight Igris and unlock the necromancer class. But in this timeline, there is no system, so that path never opens. What happens instead is honestly a lot darker. Jinwoo is now hunting at B rank levels, running entirely on stolen abilities. He comes across a gate that basically every other hunter is avoiding. Nobody wants to go near it. Inside are shadow type demons, and the moment Jinwoo starts killing them, he realizes what he absorbs this time is completely different from anything before. It does not go into his muscles. It does not sharpen his reflexes. It goes somewhere deeper, and he cannot really explain where. After this dungeon, he starts noticing things are off. He leaves shadows in places where shadows shouldn't be. Enemies around him start hesitating for no reason they can point to. Other hunters raiding alongside him say they feel like something is watching even when there's clearly nothing there. Jinwoo doesn't have a clean answer for what's happening. What he pulled from those demons is something like presence suppression, where he can just erase the feeling of himself from a space entirely. Not invisibility. Something way more unsettling than that, because people around him can still see him. They just stop registering him as a threat until it's already too late. This is the real turning point in the timeline. Jinwoo is not just building a skill set anymore. Whatever he's absorbing from these demons is starting to change what he actually is at the fundamental level. So after this arc, Sung Jinwoo now has presence suppression from the shadow demons, and a dark essence building inside him that nobody around him fully understands yet, including Jinwoo himself. And now, spoilers ahead for Season 2. If you haven't gotten there yet, pause here and go watch it first, but hit subscribe before you leave. Still here? Good. Let's talk about Beru. Now, the Jeju Island arc brings the most dangerous non-monarch enemy in the story, the Ant King. In the original timeline, Jinwoo defeats Beru and converts him into a shadow soldier. In this timeline, there are no shadow soldiers. There's only Sung Jinwoo, and Jinwoo shows up to Jeju Island completely alone. The other S-rank hunters are already getting torn apart by the time Jinwoo enters the tunnels. He has no army to send in ahead of him. What he has is speed, durability, regeneration, combat focus, and that dark essence now sitting inside him like a warning signal that even the ants seem to react to before he does anything. The fight with Beru ends up being the hardest thing Jinwoo has faced in this entire timeline. Beru is faster than anything he's fought before. Beru hits harder than anything he's fought before. And Beru does not slow down no matter what Jinwoo throws at him. What Jinwoo has is every single ability he's stolen across hundreds of fights, all stacked into one body. He uses the wolf tracking instinct to read where Beru is going before he actually gets there. He uses the spider boss's combat focus to spot tiny openings in attacks that most hunters would never even notice. He uses his regeneration to survive shots that would flat out end anyone else in that tunnel. The fight goes way longer than it did in the original timeline. Jinwoo takes serious damage throughout, but he does not stop. When Beru finally goes down, what Jinwoo absorbs changes everything. The Ant King was carrying a fragment of actual monarch power inside of him, something passed down directly from the beast monarch who built the entire ant colony. Jinwoo pulls all of it in at once. The dark essence that's been quietly sitting inside of him since the Shadow Demon dungeon suddenly clicks into place. It connects with the monarch fragment, and something in Jinwoo ignites in a way that's hard to even describe. He doesn't become the Shadow Monarch, not yet, but for the first time, he starts feeling like something that is genuinely more than a hunter. He walks off Jeju Island by himself. Every S-rank hunter who was there and watched what happened when he absorbed Beru's power doesn't talk about it afterward. So by the end of this arc, Sung Jinwoo has Beru's raw speed and strength, a monarch fragment that's starting to wake up whatever is actually inside of him, and every ability he's collected up to this point still running underneath all of it. By the time the Frost Monarch and the Beast Monarch make their move, Sung Jinwoo is not what either of them expected to find. No army, no system, no neat RPG stats and inventory screen that made the original Jinwoo so efficient. Just one guy who's been absorbing everything dangerous the world threw at him and is still standing. The Beast Monarch hits first and immediately knows something is off. Jinwoo is too fast, takes too much damage, and keeps going. And the darkness coming off of him feels disturbingly familiar, because part of it literally came from the Monarch's own bloodline, pulled straight out of the Ant King who carried their power into Jeju Island. The fight is brutal in a way that the original version just wasn't. Jinwoo cannot summon Igris to buy himself time. He cannot swap positions across the battlefield. Every single second of this comes down to pure stolen instinct, stacked against Monarch level strength with nothing else to fall back on. But here's the thing about Sung Jinwoo in this timeline. He's never once fought clean. Every ability he has came from something that tried to kill him first. He's not the Shadow Monarch. He's something the Monarchs genuinely never accounted for. A human who became a living reflection of everything they ever sent after him. The Monarchs do not win this fight, but neither does Jinwoo. Not fully. Not yet. What this fight proves is that the version of Sung Jinwoo built entirely from stolen power is heading somewhere that even the original system never had a path for. He's not following anyone's design. He's building something completely his own, and the Monarchs are terrified of what that something is going to look like when it's finished. So that's what Sung Jinwoo looks like without the system. No shadow army. No blue screens. No path that somebody else laid out for him. Just one guy who kept stealing strength from everything the world threw at him until he became something nobody has a name for yet. Which version of Jinwoo actually scares you more? The Shadow Monarch or this one? Drop it in the comments, I genuinely want to know. And if you want more solo leveling what ifs every single week, make sure you like the video and subscribe. Every comment helps me figure out which theory to cover next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.